Let's start with the Sudbury Wolves, Colin. We saw them on Saturday in Brantford, and schedule makers a little mean to the Sudbury Wolves to start things off. You go Windsor Thursday, Sarnia Friday, and in Brantford Saturday against a team, like I mentioned, the Brantford Bulldogs played one game, and it was that Saturday game against the Sudbury Wolves. So, again, we might be looking a little bit too far into it. Their first 3-3 came very, very early. But is there any concern from what we watched? We know it was a high-powered Brantford Bulldogs team getting most of the guys back, but the Sudbury Wolves have scored 7 goals in 5 games and have given up 26, which it doesn't matter what part of the season it is. Yeah. That's a bad 5-game stretch.
Well, I might as well get to it right now from later on the Sudbury Wolves, because they were one of the teams that I had to be better. And the Sudbury Wolves, I've already started 4 goaltenders this year in the 5 games. 4 goalies. Not a lot of teams start 4 goalies in a season. They've done it in 5 games. Like, that's hard to do. And here it is. Prioritize goaltending. Prioritize it. I understand the start of the year. It is what it is. You're going to get guys adjusted. I know that. 100%. But that's my point is, they haven't had a solid goaltender in between the pipes since Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. They really haven't. They don't prioritize it at all. You look at their drafting, right? Their highest goalies drafted is Owen Leonard in the 4th round, 66 overall. Okay, I see that, right? But like Finn Marshall, I will say he played the best game of his OHL career on Sunday in a 7-2 or Saturday on a 7-2 loss. He played a heck of a game. Last year, he probably gives up 10 in that game. He looked really sharp. He made 5 grade A saves in that game. The 7-2 loss is not on the goaltender in that situation for Finn Marshall at all. He played great. The loss is on the club. I thought last week the Sudbury Wolves in Niagara got outworked like crazy by the Ice Dogs. I thought the Ice Dogs, young players that is, guys making their home debuts, outworked veteran players that were in the Sudbury lineup. That's kind of my approach to that. The Edgar first goal, when you look at the forward check by Reed, the turnover, right? Like stuff like that. Those are things that are, it's going to happen. You're going to turn the puck over for sure. But prioritize goaltending. They had a horrible trade deadline last year, and we already discussed that. I don't want a broken record with that, but they had a bad deadline last year, and instead of going out and maybe trading 2 picks for a guy named Braden Gillespie from Brampton. And who knows if they were involved in that or not. I hope they were, because that would have been a better ad than a potential future overager in Noah Roberts, and the guy that every single team knew was going to the NCAA in Henry Muse. Every team in the Ontario Hockey League knew. That's the stuff that needs to be corrected in Sudbury. And by last year, their debacle at the trade deadline, and that's why we will see what the results are this year. But prioritize goaltending. They have not had a goalie that you could say you 100% trust since Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. You can honestly say that, and we talked about this off air earlier, Reece. Troy Timpano, the last one that really before Luukkonen. That you could other than Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Alaziz was there.
So what we did earlier is we went and looked at when was the last goalie that played 100 games for the Sudbury Wolves? Get it out. Yeah. There you go. Now Luukkonen was going to the NHL. He's only going to be here for 1 year. We knew that. That was pretty obvious.
But he gave him stability for the year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's exactly it. But in terms of goaltenders that played the most amount of games born 2000 or later, that's Mitchell Weeks at 95 games. The next closest, Nate Karachek at 80. So then we went a little further. Okay, who was the last one that played 100 games in their Sudbury Wolves career? And you have to scroll all the way back to 1990 born goaltender Alan Valaket, who played for the Sudbury Wolves from 2006 to 2011. Yeah, sick name, by the way. Had to get that in there. But, sorry, I screwed that up. He is he is the second most. The next closest, or the most recent, born in 1999. Geez, Reece, get your math right. 1999 is after, 1990. Good one. But that's Jacob McGrath from 2015 to 2019, where he was dealt at the deadline to the Niagara Ice. That is their last Sudbury Wolves goaltender to play 100 games in his Sudbury. And again, that doesn't I wouldn't say it happens often for a lot of teams, but there have been a lot of goaltenders who have worn a Sudbury Wolves jersey since then. Like it's been a heavy dose of different guys coming. We saw Brassard come over from the Q, one of the most awkward goaltenders we've ever seen play the game of hockey. It just seems like it's a constant rotation of just next guy, and it's like, okay, well, at some point you do have to draft somebody fairly high to see if you can have them around for 4 years. Maybe they have that now, but when you have 4 goaltenders, your young guy is probably the odd man out. So it comes a time where you have to say, like, Sudbury's not going anywhere this year. Sorry to break it to you, Sudbury fans. It's not going to happen. When do you say, hey, yeah, we're going to start the young guy and give him experience for the future when we're ready to win again? I think that conversation is going to have to happen around Christmas and into the trade.
Well,
because
100%.
you can't run 4 goalies, especially when 3 of them are 06s, but you've got an 09 that you drafted in the 4th round waiting to get his opportunity. And if he's drafted in the 4th round, I would hope you have high expectations and you would expect him to be one of your goaltenders of the future. When do you make that happen? When do you make Leonard your number 1? When do you put him in on a regular basis? And again, it doesn't have to be regular. Split him 50-50. But if you want him to be your goaltender the next time you're ready to win, he's got to play more than 10% of the games. You would expect for him to play more.
Goalies, all 06,
I think you got to make that decision. Yeah. You got
like
3 06s and an 09.
Yeah, like you got to make that decision sooner rather than later. And obviously, you don't know what you have until the 15-20 game mark anyway. But for Sudbury, you hope Villeneuve gets back healthy, and you hope Walton comes back ready to go because they need some help right now for sure. Because unlike London, the team will get to in a few minutes. Sudbury hasn't gotten those guys in the lineup, right? And that goes hand in hand with it as well. I think you have a different result in some of those games as well. You think about the Sarnia game, right? Like there's games where if you had those guys in the lineup, it could be a different result. They have solid players, and Provorov looks good. Gonchar looks good, but those guys are Euros. They're getting adjusted to the game, right? Like they have the pedigree for sure, but they're getting adjusted to the game in OHL life. You need your core back together here, though, in Sudbury to have the chance. 100%. I think their lineup is better than what their record is right now, in my opinion. I really do. I think that if you have a healthy lineup,
I don't.
Other than their goaltending, I don't trust their goaltending, and that's why I go to their goaltending. I think with their lineup, it's not a team that's going to win an OHL championship. It's not a team that's going to have home ice advantage, but it's a team that should be 6th to 10th in the conference. I mean, 6 is I could see as the ceiling with a Villeneuve healthy. He's a point-a-game player. Walton's a point-a-game player. I mean, it's one of those teams, though, Sudbury, right? And it's been like that for a while. When they're good, they have 4 guys, that are over point-a-game players that are contributing, right? But when they're not, there's only 2. And that's kind of what the Wolves have been for the last little bit. But I think Sudbury could be okay if they get guys back and get something figured out. I don't think they're, like I said, I don't think they're a team that misses the playoffs. But I also don't think they're a team that gets home ice in the first round either.
Yeah, it's hard to. You're right. There's 2 big names that are missing out of the Wolves lineup. So
we'll see.
Take it with a grain of salt. But you got to get going. The guys have to step up. They have to.
5 games. The next 5 games will be a telltale for their guys. You see the adjustment period. You'll hope you see an adjustment period, right? And then after that, you get guys in the lineup. You got 10 games to prove it. Then you know what you are. Then you know buyer, seller as you approach the deadline in Christmas. That is in 20 games. Then you kind of approach that, and you know what you have. You know what you are then.